I mean, it's the same thing that Terry Gilliam said to Quentin Tarantino, where Quentin Tarantino said, "Your films are so specific and there's such a vision behind them. How do you do that?" You know, and Terry told him,
David Fincher said that he didn't know how to create a script. I think
mm-hmm.
you were talking about that. And that he didn't know how to see the big scope of a whole film. He only knew intuitively how to direct a scene or a sequence. And he was in awe of screenwriters and what they were capable of.
Yeah, I believe when he was talking about that, I think it might have been the making of Social Network. And I think it had to do with the intricacies of writing dialogue and the snappy way that opening of Social Network begins, where it's them sitting in a coffee shop and they're going back and forth. And I think he was talking about the idea of filming that for, I believe, 62 takes, or maybe the number's off. It could be a different number of takes, but quite a few takes. And the concept that he can't necessarily sit down and write out a 120-page script, but he can intuitively understand where to place the camera and how to capture the emotions of what's taking place. I can't remember the context in which I was talking about that, but I believe what it would have to do with is just the idea of choosing the right placement of camera and movement versus the emotional stabilities you're trying to harness and capture in performances. And David Fincher is one to watch with the idea of how he's, you know, pushing the camera through so many different shots. I mean, there's something about his execution that is such a David Fincher execution that's so unlike everything else everybody else makes, which is so interesting. But I can't recall where what I was saying that in regards to, though. So
Yeah. If you watch The Social Network and then you
mm-hmm.
watch, let's say, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo,
Mm-hmm.
would you see the same sensibilities?
Oh yeah.
Two very, very different films?
Oh yeah, very, very. I mean, he barely ever has handheld camera work. His cameras are very situated to whatever it is. If there's movement, if it's connected to a vehicle, it's, you know, the best shot. It seems like his films are executed in a way that they are the best executed films out there. Like, but I mean, maybe that has something to do with him doing so many takes, though. I don't know. And when I say executed, I really don't mean, I don't mean that his choice of how he films something is the best. I just mean that it seems like somehow his crew is executing at a higher level than everybody else's, which has got to be a testament to him, or a testament to doing 60 takes of something. Yeah, I don't know.
Did you do a lot of takes with clowning?
No, we did. I tried to do 3 to 5 if I could. We had so little time. I mean, like the interrogation stuff all through the movie Clowning, we that was 12 pages. We had to shoot all in one day. Yeah, we had to shoot all that in one day because we only had the soundstage for that one single day. Yeah, that whole movie was driving more time than acting in front of the camera, which that's why my next film, or any feature film, I never want to do in less than 30 days. Which to Martin Scorsese, he was talking about how 34 days was like no time. You know, he would not want to do one in less than 60. He said that in an interview I was watching for The Irishman. You know, when he was talking about that movie. And I thought to myself, he said, I can't do a movie in less than 60 days. And we just got done doing this 17-day shoot. And my thoughts were like, man, if I had 30 days, that would have been a completely different movie. But I also believe that restraints guide you to the solution. So I wouldn't have wanted to make Clowning any other way than what it was made. I'm extremely proud of what it is. And if it would have had a different amount of money or a different amount of time, it would have been a completely different tale.
And that goes back to the Buddhist saying of work with what you have.
Truly. But also, too, it goes back to the idea of just go make a film. Because as long as you take the camera, get the people, go out into the world, you're going to find a gorgeous way to shoot it. And you're going to get those little miracles that happen. And they only happen if you hit record. If you don't hit record, it never happens.
In hearing this David Fincher quote or paraphrasing of the quote, what are your thoughts on someone at his level saying that he's in awe of screenwriters being able to do what they can do when we see what he does and it looks so effortless?
Well, I would say that that's a master of his craft truly expressing the truth, which is if it's not for the written word, we wouldn't have a movie. You can do a whole film improvisational, for sure. John Cassavetes and plenty of filmmakers have proven that. But you need the written word. You need something to lean on. And like you need the written word generally for investors. Not everybody's Mike Leigh, where Mike Leigh would go to investors with a group of actors and say, this is going to be the subject. Here's the actors. Give us money. And then they'd go off for 5 or 6 months and formulate the characters and make these brilliant films. The truth is that when it comes down to it, you have to understand, or let's say it this way, if you can compartmentalize your abilities and comprehend what you're best at, and then fill the slots with amazing, talented people for the things you're not that great at, then more than likely you will succeed. Because, I mean, it's the same thing that Terry Gilliam said to Quentin Tarantino, where Quentin Tarantino said, your films are so specific and there's such a vision behind them. How do you do that? You know, and Terry told him, you don't have to worry about cinematography or knowing lenses or knowing production design. You just have to have your vision. You just have to have see the thing the way that you see it, whether it's colors, angles, everything, all the pre-visualization methods you can think of. If you're able to go down that path and then you fill all the people around you with the most talented people you can possibly bring together, then they're going to make you look amazing and they're going to bring your vision to fruition. Because you have to have a vision for it to be a vision, right? Because a vision, truly what a vision is the final filter for all the choices. And if somebody doesn't have the vision, then it goes back to what Andrei Tarkovsky said in his book, Sculpting in Time. He says, if the director's not careful, you can become a mere witness to your movie being shot, to your actors acting, to your production designers designing, to, you know, but for him, what Andrei Tarkovsky believed is that the director should be more of a poet, more of an artist, and have their hands dirty in everything constantly. And that's what David Lynch did. He was constantly seen on set, messing with everything, building a lamp for the background of a scene. And, you know, but again, there's different kinds of filmmakers. I don't think David Fincher is building a lamp, but he's choosing the lamp. And therein lies what your real objective is. And the objective is to have a vision.